I'm Alicia Haygood with AZ Cinema Select, where we feature the local films and series shot right here locally. Today, I have the privilege of sitting with the stars of the upcoming film, Emo Valley. Sean and Jordan, I'm so lucky to have you. I'm excited to be with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This film is obviously an LGBTQI genre film. What are your thoughts on how underrated this genre is in the mainstream? Sean, I'll start with you.
I mean, it's pretty huge. I mean, a lot of what's on TV or on streaming is like sad stories, not like that. We'll get into what this story is at some point, but there's like not a lot, and it's only usually like white stories get told within our culture, and it's more than that. So it's cool to be able to showcase us and see what we go through.
I love that. Jordan, what about you? What's your feeling on the LGBTQI community not really being represented in the mainstream?
Well, I'd like to add on to what Sean said and just like focus on the fact that this is more color you'll see in the film, and focusing more on other subjects that aren't really in these other films you're seeing on other platforms or in the media nowadays. I do think it's something that should be brought to attention more. And these films do represent, this one specifically has a good lesson to it. It has a good message to it, and I think that's something that should really be brought up more.
What you talked about, especially the LGBTQI community not being represented, and then, being, you said that you have more black and brown and colored folks in it. What is that combined? I mean, that adds another element of a layer of not really being represented in the mainstream.
It goes to show that the community is a lot bigger than what it may seem, and there's a lot more things going on in it than just what the media seems to be portraying.
Yeah, I like that. Sean, what was the filming process like for you to create this film and this movie?
It was really interesting. I mean, I came from LA. I think I'm the only actor in the film that isn't local to Phoenix, but just the casting was like interesting. I was kind of cast. I was found on social media by the director, and I sent my reel and everything, and then next thing I know, got the part. And I drove out here initially when we did like the first half of the film, and we had some trials for that first run, but all in all, we pulled it through, and I'm really excited to see what comes at the end of it. Yeah.
I can't wait. Jordan, what about you? What was the filming like for you?
Well, this being my first film, I'd say it was different.
Different in what way compared to what?
Well, I most of the times I would either look at the camera or I would laugh randomly. But I think it did make me feel more comfortable going through that and experiencing, like, realizing honestly this was my first film, and it just made it more natural, something that could seem more natural. Yeah, honestly.
What were some of the obstacles that you had to go through and deal with, besides not laughing sporadically during it?
I would say the parts we did in public. We actually did train segment, and I don't know, I just had some public anxiety. But
how did you overcome that?
The director, Anthony, told me to focus on the character, focus on the role, and that's what I did, and it definitely helped. I did do well, I feel like, in the end.
Do you feel like Sean, who maybe has a little bit more experience, helped you in that?
Yeah, I definitely would say that, because he kept his cool. He focused on the part, and that kind of drew me back into the role.
I love that. Sean, what about you? What were some obstacles you felt like you had to overcome?
I don't know. I guess just I've done like shorts, so like there's like this is my first feature film. Okay. So like there's just so much more to the story, and there's more of a character arc. It's not just like this 6 minutes, it's so much more. So I have to think about timelines, what we did before, and just kind of like really honing in into all those emotions while also being able to play at different levels. Uh-huh. So it's just not one thing the whole time. So I think just like really characterizing and being emotional, vulnerable.
That's huge, because that's relatability, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what makes the character come alive on screen and for the audience to relate to. Mm-hmm. How did you pull that out of you, Sean?
We all have our situationships.
Yeah, I like that.
So just pulling from that, also like the stories, like I don't know, it's close to me just because I don't play the character that's in the foster care system, but I grew up in the foster care system. Okay. So just being able to like see the situation that his character Elijah's in and being able to be like, okay, what do I kind of remember from how he was feeling? Where there are certain things that he went through that I went through. So kind of being that and being like, what would I have wanted?
That empathy aspect. And did you help Sean bring that out of his character because you had that relatability?
I think so. I hope so.
We'll see soon enough. The main topic centers around social media and the gap it creates of really forming these real relationships, What does that mean to you in real life today? Jordan, I'll start with you.
I mean, I would say definitely the characters, Elijah and Zuri, their relationship, I don't want to spoil anything, but there are some points where they were pretty rocky. It starts out like that and things progress. And I don't want to spoil anything.
Don't spoil anything.
But I do think that nowadays people are really closed off and things can get misconstrued as well. And being open and approachable is something that's, you can meet more people, understand people more. And that's something that the film, I feel like, kind of focuses on. We have a moment where we touch that in the film.
Nice. Sean, you were found on social media for this film, and then it talks about how social media kind of doesn't get that natural relationship. So it's kind of, a catch-22 almost. How do you relate real life to the film and the social media aspect?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's crazy. I mean, like there's so much that social media can offer, like offered me this, but there's so much that like, you don't know exactly what you're getting because it might not be real what you're seeing, And I know in terms of just like creating relationships and everything, like I'm pansexual, so a lot of things, it's personality based for me. So I can't really garner, especially like through the apps and everything, like who you are as a person. So it's apps and social media like tend to fail me.
Okay.
So it's kind of, so in that way, I relate to my character a lot in that sense.
Yeah, I get that. It's an emotional connection. You can't have an emotional connection through Facebook.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest takeaway you want the community to feel and get from this movie, Emo Valley?
I believe social media is, I think social media is fake. It just focuses on a certain moment where someone is having a moment they want to share with everyone that is, a positive, and it doesn't show the negative. It doesn't show the hardships that people are going through or maybe going through. So it's something it's honestly a little toxic. So I mean, seeing that in this film and seeing it in reality, it's just something that should be focused on more, and that's something I feel like this movie does kind of touch on. So
well, to follow up with that, how are you going to change your social media habits after filming this?
I personally have had my social medias deactivated, or I've taken a step back, honestly, and that's something that's helped me. I've told people around me that I don't intend or feel the need to go back at the moment. I'm just happy living in the present and living with what's around me rather than focusing on other things outside of me or my control. Did
this movie get you to do that, or were you kind of already on that path before you started filming Emo Valley?
I was on that before this, and this film definitely made me realize that things are better off maybe just in person, living in the moment. So
you get that real connection.
I do,
Sean
and I can relate
about that emotional connection. Sean, what about you? Like, what do you think is the biggest takeaway from this film you want the community to hold on to?
I would say that, I don't know, definitely get off the phones. just be honest with each other. And like, also just like, something that we were working on earlier, just love is just one part of a relationship. There's so much more to it, and there's so much more that you have to put into it. Love is not always enough,
Right.
So, just being honest with each other so that you have that vulnerability to be able to trust each other and communicate effectively.
I love that. That's very true, and I hope you all get the same out of Emo Valley as well.